What's up guys? Welcome to the shop. Recently I was asked by a local friend and subscriber if I could go and check out what he has in his garage because he thought it would make a really cool video. And naturally, I checked it out and this is what we got. We have a Toro walk-behind commercial mower. This is a Proline edition mower. It's model 30437 to those guys who are big fans of the Toro line. And this belongs to my friend Joe. He dropped it off, including all of the necessary tune-up items. So we got a couple of plugs. We got the inner and outer air filter, including an oil filter, because we're going to do a full tune-up on this. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Stick around. We're going to dive right in by changing the oil. The cool part about these commercial engines is they do have an oil filter on these small engines, which is going to make these last a lot longer. And they also have a little petcock here that allows you to drain the oil out the back. But because I don't have one of those hoses, and I tend to make a lot of messes recently, I'm just going to suck the oil right out of the dipstick hole and try and minimize the mess that I normally do. So we're just going to do this. And by the way, I'd like to thank Joe for letting me do this service on this mower, because I think it's a pretty cool thing. There we go. Let's get all the last little bit out of there. Oh, come on. I still managed to make a mess. What the heck? Okay, it's only one drop, but anyways, let's move this out of the way. Okay, now next, we're going to put a rag under the oil filter here, because that's going to be full of oil for sure. And we're going to remove that, hopefully with my bare hands. Look at that. Look at that. I managed to do it with my bare hands. Thought for sure I'd have to go get a pair of pliers, but sometimes I'm stronger than I think. Or I just don't give myself enough credit. Let that drain out a little bit. We're going to be giving this thing a bath afterwards anyways, so we're not too concerned with some oil spilling out a little bit. Put our new filter on here. And I know you guys are going to say, well, you didn't put any oil on the lip of the seal or anything else. Well, that's because the filter housing had quite a bit of oil on it still. So for that reason, I didn't do that. But if you did notice that, good on you for noticing it. And now for some fresh oil. This is just a 10W30. A high quality 10W30, if I might add. I remove all the stickers from my bottles when I film. That way there I don't have to worry about copyright issues or any of those things for because I don't have any sponsors. So something I'd like to point out here too is I've noticed on most of these small Kawasaki engines, it's written right on the dipstick here, for correct oil level, do not turn cap on threads. I'm mentioning this because if you were to turn the cap onto the threads, where it would normally say add, it would indicate that you would be within the hash marks. And that could be the difference of either having a long-lasting engine or having an engine that's run on too little oil for too long. So if we just drop it in like that and we check it, we're just starting to touch the tip of the dipstick here. We're going to fill it some more. There. Perfect, right to the top. Now let's move on to the spark plugs. Alright, let's start off with the right one. Oh, that's on there good. Well, we know that one was sparking. There you go. Okay. Had a good connection. Alright, what do we got? Well, a little on the dark side. Let me check this out. If I can just zoom in here. There we go. Not so bad. Like I said, it's a little bit dark. We'll throw a new one in there. Alright, something I like to do before I put in a new plug is make sure that the electrode has the correct spacing, or gapping I should say, which I've already done. So we're good there. And we're just going to put this one in. Click. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And this is what our second plug looks like. A little bit cleaner than the other one. Oh, stay zoomed in. There you go. Let's move on to the air filter. And that's located right underneath this little panel here. Just remove that nice and easy. I like that you don't have to use any tools for this part. And you got two more wing nuts. Pull these off. So this one actually doesn't seem too bad, at least for the pre-filter. But, oh my lord. Okay, so if we look inside these pleats, like these are completely full of dirt. On both sides for that matter. So that's going to help. Happy he supplied me with one of these kits. So it comes with a new pre-filter. And of course, your air filter. My lord, that's going to be the loudest plastic bag I've heard in a long time. Okay. Like seriously. All right. Get that pre-filter nice and even. Put these back on. And put on our cover. And that right there was probably the easiest part of the video. Next, what I'd like to do is we're going to lift up the cutting deck here. We're going to support it with a jack stand. So we're going to remove all three blades. We're going to give them a sharpen. Oh, seriously? I still managed to make a mess. Check this out. So here's my mess. Every time I do an oil change. Now, I'm not sure how that would have... Oh, I see. Okay. So when I change the oil filter, there's a little cavity down there where that just drips right down on the ground. Awesome. Okay. Okay, next we're going to remove the blades. And they're being held in with a 24 millimeter bolt. Well, 24 millimeter socket will remove the bolt, I should say. All right, now let's take these to the bench grinder and we'll give them a grind. So the way I like to sharpen lawnmower blades is I like to secure them in my vise, and I will use a flapper wheel on a grinder, and I'll secure it in the sense that the grindings will be forced from the sharp edge of the blade down to the root of the blade. I know some guys will work the other way, but I find it works best this way for me, at the very least, and it stays sharper with a lot less burring at the end when you're done with the blade. There'll be a little bit to be done, but otherwise it works out really well for me. And of course, if you don't have one of these little guys, you can get them at any of your lawn care stores. They're really nice little balancers to see how well you've done on your grinding, because last thing you want to do is run a machine that has an unbalanced blade. And look at that. Perfectly balanced. All we need to do is 2 more now. Just in case you're wondering, how sharp are these blades really when he's done? Well, if I take a rag and I just go one single layer through, I mean, without putting too much pressure, I mean, that's not too bad, right? If I grab another one, that one's actually a little bit sharper. I don't know. I mean, it's just as sharp as a knife if you ask me. So one thing to remember too when you're installing blades is to always install the flat side of the blade facing the grass. I almost forgot, no tune-up is complete without greasing the fittings. Okay, finally, we're going to replace this crusty old fuel filter. So, I'm going to put a little rag underneath it. I'm going to turn off the valve right over here so we don't spew gas everywhere. We're still going to have a little bit come out of it. But that's why we have a rag. Even though I've already made a mess today, don't need to make any more. And just like that. Okay, so there's the old filter. And here's the new one. Now you're going to notice that this is actually just a universal filter, which is kind of great. So we're just going to cut this smaller part off of it because we're going to use the larger bar, and we'll just install it like that. So we've got the ends cut, and don't forget when you're installing a fuel filter that there is an arrow on these, and that's the direction of fuel flow. So this one happens to be right here. So there's the arrow. Fuel is going to come in this way. Just like that. They're way easier to put on than they are to remove. We're going to dispose of this fuel filter correctly. And how about we go take this out on the grass and see how it cuts? Okay, so we've got our ignition on. Full choke. Double check the oil here just because, and we are right where we're supposed to be. I should have wiped it clean, but There's oil there, which I know I was good. We're going to turn this fuel valve back on, because that could have been embarrassing. Now, we'll see how she fires up. So the cool part about these machines is they are completely self-propelled, and the way you actually steer these is by pulling on one of these levers or both to stop it. So you're going to see me kind of going up and down the grass there, see what I can do with it. I'm not an expert user of these machines, but back here we also have a reverse gear and 5 forward gears. So that works the same way. Just those I think are there so if you're a taller person, or you can cut grass a little bit faster than the other. So let's set up the camera, see how it runs.